Yeah, welcome all. First, let us briefly wind up what all we have covered till now, so that we can move to our next topic. So till now we were working on control flow of the program. So we had already seen how to go sequentially and selectively. In selective mode, we used if then else statements. So now we are going to learn how to program, or how the control flow can be, uh, how the flow of control of program can be done iteratively. So what does you mean by iterative? Iteration means when you have to repeat a set of statements. Okay, so when you have to repeat statements, so actually you land up in either one of the two conditions. Means either you know how many times you need to repeat a statement, or you don't know but you have a specific condition. So based on these two conditions, there are two different loops. One loop is called for loop, and another loop is called while loop. So in this today's lecture, we are going to study more about for loop. So in for loop, when you know the number of iterations, like how many times you have to repeat a loop, so in those conditions we use a for loop. But again, this for loop is also called determinable loop. Okay, because since the number of iterations is already known, so this can also be called as a counting loop. Okay, so by now you all must be aware that today's topic we are going to discuss about a for loop. So Python for loops are little bit different what it is there in C, C++ or Pascal. Okay, in Python for loops are majorly used for iterating over a sequence. Like you have been given a iterable object which is having more than one element or empty. Okay, so you use for loop to iterate over the sequence. Okay, so it works more like a iterator. So in Python, we are having a different data type called as sequence data types. Okay, so in that we can have list, tuple, dictionary, sets, strings. So this for loop is majorly used to iterate over these sequence of lists, tuples, and dictionaries. Okay, list, tuple, and dictionaries. Okay, so now we'll see in subsequent slides how we are going to use it. So before we use it, let us understand the different parts of this for loop. Okay, so in the for loop, what all we have, let us see. So in this for loop, we are having two keywords, for and in. Now again, one more, we'll require one iteration variable, and we are required to have one iterable object. It can have one or many, or it can even have it can even be an empty set. Okay, so what does iteration variable do? Iteration variable will assume the various values of elements in sequence one by one. So after each iteration, it will assume next value, next value, next value, till the time all the values in this iterable object is finished. Now let us see a live demonstration of the program. We'll correlate it to our previous topic and previous slide. So this fruit list, it is a iteration. It is a iterable object. It is a kind of list data type. It is having four elements. Okay, so these are four names of fruits. So this for loop, for this is for is a keyword, in is a keyword. This is a fruit is a iteration variable. This iteration variable is used to iterate over this sequence. This sequence is a list of fruit list. Okay, and there is only one statement which is to be executed. Now let us see the output is here already. It has been defined what is the output. So it will iterate over the sequence one by one, and this will be printed in sequence. Okay, so what are the steps that you should follow while creating a for loop? First of all, you should definitely have an iterable object, list, tuple, or dictionary, anything like that. So here are the different types of example. It is a list. It is a list of fruits. It is a list of even numbers. It is a range function which is giving us some series of numbers. Okay, after that you should have one action block. Action block. What is the function of action block? Means how many times you want to repeat statement. The statement that you want to repeat is will come under the action block. So now, what is the basic working? Let us understand by its algorithm. So in this algorithm, let us see how it does it. First of all, what it will do, it will go and search in the iteration object whether if there is any element. So if there is any element, it will assign the value to the iteration variable, the first value in the iterable object. After that, it will perform the set of actions, and then it will go for the next element. If there is a next element, that it then it will again assign that value to the iteration variable. Iteration variable will go back to step number 2. It will execute the set of actions, and this loop will go until the time all the elements are finished. So when the elements are finished, the execution will go to our next step, which is the statement after this for loop. Now let us understand the same thing using this flow chart. So although logic is same, but let us understand by this flow chart also again, so that it gets concreted in our mind. So what was the first step? First step, go to the first element of the iteration variable, sorry, iteration object. Element exists. If element exists, execute the action block. Then again go to next element and keep on iterating till the time all the values are finished. So when the values are finished, this condition is false, and you move out of the for loop, for action block, and the for loop is completed, and you execute the next statement after this for loop. Now let us understand what is the exact syntax. Already we have seen so many things, but now this is a nicely arranged. So this figure should be there in the mind when you are thinking about the for loop. So we had studied in the dissection. We should have two keywords, like for and in are two keywords. There is a iteration variable. This is a iteration object. So this is a sequence, like for, keyword for, after that iteration variable, after that keyword in, after that iteration object, after that colon, and after that colon there should be a tab space, and in the tab space there this defines the action block. So we are already aware how does a block is made in Python. And after this there can be statements of before this for loop, there can be statements after this for loop. So this was the basic syntax of a for loop. Now let us understand the things using one example. This example we have already covered, but again I am discussing the same example so that all the things are becomes concrete in your mind. All the things are related exactly. Again, same discussion. There is a iteration variable. Sorry, there is a iteration object list. There is the for loop, for fruit iteration variable, in keyword, after that iterable object, after that there is action block. There is only one statement. What is the statement? Print. Okay, so it will print all the values. Okay, and there is a two statements, sorry, there are two statements, one more print statement, and it prints only a word SAF. So every time it will print fruit, and after that it will print the word SAF. So you can see in the first variable it printed mango, after that SAF, after the mango, after the SAF. So like this, it it will iterate over the sequence. When the sequence is finished, this loop gets completed. Okay, so now let us understand the same thing using Python tutor. Okay, this is a very beautiful tool. It gives you exact visualization of the things. Now this is the code. So now let us see how does it work. Let me give you a brief introduction to this. Here is our code. Okay, uh, here it is our code. It is the output area, and here it will show you the list of variables and values. Okay, so when the first statement gets executed, okay, so this will create a list in the memory. Okay, so the list is created, and it is stored, its link is stored in the variable fruit list. So as per our requirement, we have created the list. Okay, so list iterable object has been created. Now that header of for loop, for keyword, after that iterable variable, it is a fruit, after that iteration, after that keyword in, after that iterable object, after that colon, and after that defines the action block. So now let us execute the variable fruit. It has assumed the first value mango. Okay, so now action block says print this fruit, prints the value of the fruit. So this mango, it will get printed here. Now let us run. So we have run it. Yes, mango, it has been printed. Again, execution goes back to line number 3. So what happens after line number 3? The value of variable fruit has been updated. Okay, so value, now it has assumed the value, second value of the list. So what is action block? It will print. So it prints the next value. So now we can see the next value has also been printed. Okay, so guava is also printed. Now this value also goes back. This value has been completed. Now it again, iteration will go back to line number 3. Now the next value is cherry. So it will execute the action block using this value fruit for cherry. So it will print. Again, it will print fruit. So here we can see the value fruit has been printed, and after that it will go to the next value. Next value is what? Avocado. So avocado is printed, and our all the elements in the loop has finished. So after that, this will go out of the loop. So now the line number 7 has been executed, and it will print. We are executing, and it will print and next statement of the for loop. So now till now we have seen how, what is the dissection of the of a for loop, what is the syntax, how it is going to execute each and every step. So likewise, I have shown you how to use this for loop for iterating over a sequence, that is a list. You can use the same technique for iterating, using iteration for list, for tuple, for dictionary, for strings, and any other type of object which can be iterated. Okay, so this is the primary purpose of Python for loop, is iteration. So now let us have a small quiz. So what all till now we have studied, just 2 3 questions to answer. So it will tell me what all you have learned till now.